Hey, so I'm a bit frustrated with myself right now because I just recorded this whole big thing and I went to play it back and I hit delete instead of play. But anyway, here we are. I want to give you all a quick update on week 3 of patient advocacy, and a lot has been going on. I could literally probably do this 24/7 and I still wouldn't have enough time to answer everybody's questions, concerns, outreaches of love and support, which have been awesome. Not to mention deal with my own stuff that has been totally put on the back burner for now, because there's a lot of people that need a lot of stuff. Just a quick run through of, I guess, the top few things that are still seem to be kind of the theme of the outreaches that I'm getting. As I mentioned last week, older folks in nursing homes that are being neglected. Either they're not able to see their loved ones privately, or they have deconditioned in some way, some to the point of getting bed sores and losing their functionality. Like, they were able to walk before and now they're not. So I helped quite a few people get in to see their loved ones. I'm working on a few folks that are trying to get private time with their loved ones so that they can, do a physical assessment and figure out what's really been going on. So I've got a few of those in the works. Probably the second major thing going on, I think I mentioned this last week, is mamas giving birth to new babies. It's a really tough time to be in the hospital giving birth. There are a lot of restrictions about who can be in the hospital, helping mama through the birthing process, and the things that are kind of going on after birth, in the few days postpartum. Moms that are having babies that need to go to the NICU, and baby has to stay in the hospital and mom has to go home, and then there's a lot of challenges for mom to get back into the hospital to see the baby, which is completely uncalled for. It's so detrimental. Those first few days after a baby is born is so important for bonding and breastfeeding, and that baby has been in mama's belly for 9 months, and now he's out in this big bad world and mama isn't there to console him. And so that sort of stuff is really breaking my heart. And I'm going to, I plan to focus on this when I get some time, a little more, or much more specifically, because mamas, you absolutely need to know your rights. You need to know your rights before you get pregnant. You need to know your rights while you're pregnant, when you're in birth, when you're in the throes of labor, and, in that postpartum period. You absolutely need to know your rights for you and your baby and, your partner. And it is so important, because when you're in the throes of labor, there's a lot of stuff going on. People are barking orders left and right, and there's probably stuff happening that, had you been in your right mind and not in the midst of this amazing experience, you probably would have an opinion on. But because you're focused on other things, you're not able to voice your opinion. So it is so important to have a birthing plan and an understanding of how you want it to go down, and have that stuff in writing, and have the conversations with your obstetrician or your midwife, especially with your partner, whoever is going to be there to help you through the birthing process. Thankfully, I have an amazing friend who is a doula, and she and I have been getting together on a weekly basis to discuss a lot of this stuff, and we're planning to do something in the next few weeks, probably, specifically directed towards birthing moms that need some guidance in this area, as far as what their rights are, what options they have, as far as where you can birth your baby, and what's legal, and the rights of moms are super important, and knowing your rights before you're in the midst of any situations where you can't focus. But yes, that's basically what's been going on. Moms that are being refused access to their newborn baby, moms that are being refused options as far as how they want to birth their baby. So water births are a pretty popular thing, and up until all this that's going on, water births have been an option. Now, apparently, water births are an option only in certain hospitals and not in others, which clinically that just doesn't make sense. If one hospital feels it is safe to conduct a water birth, then it should be safe to conduct a water birth. It shouldn't be a hospital by hospital decision unless it's based on, the whims of the clinical staff, which really doesn't make sense, because I'll say it one more time, mamas, you have rights, and if you are choosing to have a water birth, it should be your right to that. So yeah, we'll get into more discussion about mother's rights and how that looks and how we can explore them and solidify them, so that way you are in control when the time comes. Let me see, and a few other things that I'm dealing with or helping people deal with as far as advocacy goes. People being denied medication because they won't wear a mask in the doctor's office. These are like life-saving medications, and people have strong beliefs about wearing masks. I'm one of them. If you haven't read my recent post on social media about my refusal to wear a mask in Whole Foods, you'll understand kind of. I'm not a religious person, but I am a spiritual person, and my breath was the first, willful act of life that I made. I was born and I took this big gasping breath, and, when my time comes, my breath will be the last willful act of life that I make. And for me, that's a very spiritual thing, and I hold that close to my heart, and I do not want to cover my breath. In Greek, the word for soul is pneumo, pneumothorax, pneumonia. That's all to do with your breath, and I feel strongly that my breath is part of my spirit. It is my spirit, and to cover that up and to breathe, a decreased level of oxygen, those things are detrimental. Whether we know it right now or we know it, a few years from now when we've all suffered, a full year of breathing our own exhaust. But anyhow, sorry, soapbox. So I feel you. Those folks that don't want to wear a mask, I feel you. Don't be overzealous about it, but, there's ways to go about it. Anyway, there's something going on now where people are being denied access to the doctor to get, like I said, life-saving medications because they won't wear a mask. So huge violations going on there. There should be ways to accommodate people that feel that strongly. And it's not happening. So I'm helping a few people deal with those issues. And finally, there are issues in the schools, of course. Student athletes who are being denied participation in certain things that have major impact on their future, either their future as a student and their future as a collegiate athlete. Some really questionable stuff going on in that arena. And again, it all comes down to inconsistency. If you're going to implement a rule or a policy, you need to follow it across the board. And there's so much wishy-washy stuff going on. And it's really affecting people's lives in a tremendously negative way. And we just can't stand for it. So that's my story. It's been a super busy week once again. I hope I will find some time in the next few weeks to deal with my own stuff and to also put together maybe some Zoom calls to deal with a few different topics that a lot of people have been reaching out to me on. Mostly, birthing and also this thing, how to avoid it if you have a college student or, someone that works in a certain area that it's potentially going to become mandatory. So I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone had a good holiday weekend. I hope everyone is enjoying the spring, and I will be back in probably a week or so, maybe before, unless something fun happens. Keep the stuff coming. Thank you for those of you that have been super generous and are giving me gifts so that I can continue to do this on a pretty much full-time basis. But you've all been awesome, and I'll see you soon. Bye.